Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of the Doodlifts podcast. I am here with Eli and James of Fit Friends, and we're going to get into the intros in just a moment, but want to take a quick second to thank Komoko Labs for the 3D avatar of the Doodlifts Doodle. It's pretty awesome and a great time to get to interview people in the metaverse feel, if you will. And so let's go ahead and we'll jump right into it. So like I said, we're here with Eli and James. Let's see, do y'all want to introduce yourselves? Maybe we can start off with Eli. Eli, let's get the elevator pitch. Who is Eli?
Sure, yeah. I've been in the fitness industry for close to 10 years now as a personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist. And for the last 3 years, I've been working in outpatient mental health as a case manager. I'm working with people who have severe mental illness, substance use disorders, and who are experiencing homelessness. So like essentially the individuals would be addicted to either meth or heroin, have like untreated schizophrenia, and are currently unhoused. And I was really interested in the thing that I found most interesting was the tools that I used as a personal trainer really helped those individuals. Things like getting daily physical activity, like in a structured way, sleep and nutrition. And I wanted to bring that information to more people because there's so many people now, especially with everything that's been going on, who are struggling with either mental health or they want to get more physically active and they're stuck inside. And we would just want to bring more of that information out there. So I'm super passionate about those kind of things. I do a lot of physical activity myself. I'm running 30 miles a week. I'm lifting 3 times a week. I'm doing body weight 3 times a week. I'm trying to get a hike in once a week, and I'd like to start jiu-jitsu again. I'm just trying to figure out like where to put that into my days. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's awesome. That's we'll get back to some of that stuff later. That's all super, super cool. James, what about you?
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for having us. I'm James. I'm the dev. And yeah, a bit about myself. I sort of grew up in San Francisco, went to UC Berkeley, spent a lot of time falling in love with computer science, but sort of the education and the teaching side of it. So I was a TA and then a summer instructor teaching the intro course there, and was a mentor and made walkthrough videos, and just it was so rewarding seeing people get into computer science and be able to build with just typing some lines of code. So that was awesome. And then I worked at a few tech companies in the Bay Area and then moved to New York. So I'm right in New York. I'm in the Bronx. But throughout that whole time was spending a lot of time doing teaching on the side with a real Python as a video walkthrough instructor, with Coding Nomads doing COVID mentoring. And then, sort of fell in love with NFTs and Web3 and the open source community of the dev side. Inherently blockchain technologies and developers who gravitate towards this stuff like to share, like to be open, like to create open source tools, like to help people on Discord, like to jump on calls and do hacking sessions and live streaming, and that just was like, oh man, this is like what I've been trying to find my whole life. So I quit a few months ago to do Fit Friends and with Eli, and I'm not like a wellness professional, and so I've learned so much from Eli about my diet and sort of fixing up my cardio and how to lose weight. I was able to lose like 5 to 10 pounds in March, and now I'm bulking again because Eli's convinced me that bulk that
convince you this is the way.
Yeah. This is more the fun. Way.
It's definitely more fun.
But in like a routine, structured, not like off the rails. Like I'm very plan all my meals and calorie count, and I've never done that before ever in my life. And so with Fit Friends, we're able to reach a much larger audience and do something really great, help people with their mental and physical health. And I get to help people with the tech side, and it's just a lot of fun.
I think that's so cool. It takes all stripes. And so I think that's amazing that you bring that to the table with your team. And I can see that reflected. We'll definitely touch back on some of those topics, but especially even the open source thing that you mentioned. I noticed your 3D generative engine is open source. That piqued my attention. So we'll circle back around to that. But I wanted to say too, it is really interesting, Eli. I feel like we might be kindred spirits in a way. So I'm, I don't know what the term would be. So I'm a student, so up and coming fitness professional, I guess you would say.
Oh, awesome.
I'm in my senior year of college for sports science and performance programming.
Very cool.
I'll sit for my CSCS and for all that good stuff. And but I'm also a mental health professional as well. I've been in the field for a decade, and I do outpatient counseling for teens with mental
Cool.
health and substance
Wow,
abuse.
fantastic.
So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
like, I feel you on all that stuff in the intersection between that two and how important that is. I think that's great. Now, besides your kind of personal, I know, James, you touched on this a little bit, but I always kind of like, I think this is interesting. What is your kind of Web3 origin story? So how did you get introduced to Web3? Was it crypto back in the day? Was it NFTs directly? I want to hear a little bit more about that. James, you want to start first?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, my crypto story, I've been dollar cost averaging into Ethereum and Bitcoin a little bit since 2016 or so. Knew just it was the place to put money, and didn't really understand blockchain technology. Didn't really get it, and it was really up until maybe December of 2021 that basically like sort of got into NFTs, joined a bunch of communities. My friend was like on the mint list for Azuki and like was super hyped about that. And then
Nice.
I joined a ton of he's quite happy. So joined a ton of different communities, and never had I seen such like an active, interface online, structured and fun and like gamified and like incentivized way where people like cared because they had financial skin in the game. They also had, time invested, and like just the potential there was so cool. So then I dove into the tech side, started learning Solidity, started really understanding, how like blockchain technologies work with the proof of stake and proof of work, and still have a ways to go there, but really seeing the potential. And then like the art side was really cool. The generative animated collections and how the traits swapped in like really piqued my interest because I care a lot about the visual side. I'm also a musician, and so like creative outlets using tech to facilitate that was just like a perfect intersection. And so I was like, that's super cool. So then I got into like Hashlips and Hashlips animated engine, and got into their Discord and saw that there wasn't really a great open source animated version. And so then I worked on that, and it was just sort of like, one thing after another. Like once you build something, then people use it, and then it's like just this flywheel, they call it in like business terms, that just keeps going. And now we're here.
It is amazing how your interests can be like satisfied in the Web3 community, and how they build on top of each other. I mean, we've already even touched upon that. We're like physical, mental health, and now we're talking about art and the creative side. I mean, I would have never thought that for me personally, starting a quote unquote fitness brand would have scratched my creative itch, but getting to do my little like, what's the term? I can't think about it, but my little art pieces and illustrations and things like that. It's like, it totally scratches that itch, which I think is super cool. Eli, what about you? What's your Web3 origin story?
Yeah, I mean, I knew about Bitcoin like, in the early days when everyone was talking about it. It's like, no way it's going to hit $700. No way it's going to hit $1,000. And then, of course, I missed the boat there. But
didn't we all?
Getting into NFTs started with crypto. Me and my best friend were like, let's see what this is all about. Let's do a bunch of research. And then early, like I always say mid to end of last year, so 2021, like fall and August, we split. He started focusing more on crypto. I started like getting into the whole NFT side of it. And I was really interested in some of the new games and things that were coming out, because I felt like that was a lot of the things that I was seeing, like Web3 and metaverse and everything. Those seemed like they were still a couple of years down the road, but the gaming blockchain and the gaming tech and NFTs seemed like they were really accessible and ready to go. So I got really into like the My Pet Hooligan community, and there's a couple other ones that I was able to find and lucky enough to get whitelisted on and be a part of, that I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is a great community. This is a great project they're working on. And so we wanted to, essentially that was one of the starting points for us deciding to make our own Web3 brand, because I was seeing that it is possible for people who have a specific vision and a specific goal to come together and bring really different talented people on and build something.
No, that's very true. There seems to be this almost, I don't know, maybe I'll coin the term here, a nicheification of markets where things just get more and more specific. But that's okay. And I think that the internet and the proliferation of that has enabled us to do that, where people have been able to find niche communities that they fit in. They find their people. I think that's very, very cool. So all that being said about your origin stories into Web3, what was when were the seeds sown for Fit Friends? How did that come together? I looked at your team. You guys have a diverse team from some different places, some different ilks. How did that congeal? How did that come to be?
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. So when the NFT, like early January, end of last year, I was seeing a lot of talk about mental health just through the whole Web3 space. Everyone was trying to figure out, like, discussing mental health. They were very open about it. It was a really nice, it was a nice environment. There wasn't a lot of stigma, and I was able to talk to some people about, like, some of the work I had done professionally, and there were a lot of people who wanted to get physically active, and I just started giving people workout programs and like here, what are your goals? Here's what you can do with your what equipment you have at home. And people were really receptive. Some people I'm still talking to. I just met them,
Nice.
Like in the HAPE Discord, and talked to them about a workout routine, and they're still talking to me daily on Discord, like, oh yeah, I've been doing it. It's been like a couple months now. I've lost 20 pounds. I can pick up my kids. And I'm like, that's great. We should get this information out there. So a buddy of mine, Nick, we started talking about it, and we reached out to James through a mutual friend. And James, if you want to jump in about how you got on board to the team, and then Luca.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was around February. Yeah, reached out through a mutual friend, and we just sort of gelled well, like, because I had this sort of with COVID and with struggles with physical and mental health throughout that, like I saw this need for this, in a wider space, not just Web3, and really gravitated towards the what they wanted to bring to the table. And I was just getting into NFTs and the technology side, and was just super excited about it. And I was also looking for something more entrepreneurial, to do outside the 9 to 5. And so this is just like it was like stars aligned. And then, we started looking for an artist, because we wanted to do something more than just a utility pass, more than just like a static image. You buy, 1,000 of them, you get some fitness, mental health perks that we'll talk about later. We wanted the art to be at the same level, if not even more important than the utility. And so we wanted to push the envelope on what we could do with the art. And it like perfectly aligned, because I was working on this animated art engine, and we were looking for artists, and that's when we came across Luca. And Luca is just like mind-blowingly good. Like the art, they can crank out things. So they're trans, and they can crank out, things minutes, and multi-pose, web design, mobile design. Like we have the website fitfriends.io, and you can go on the website and the mobile site, and they were able to like throw that all together. And it was just like perfect, because they specialize a lot in animation. And so
the
now
the website is impressive, just for what it's worth. I was logging on, and you feel immersed in the ecosystem right away because of the animation. It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you love it. That was like my first time building end-to-end website. No outside help. Not part of I built small websites, but nothing sort of with those animations and with the like just sort of solo. And that was just so fun. And we're still going to iterate on that, because we feel like it can have improvements, but the overall vibe is super cool. But yeah, so then Luca joined around March, maybe.
Yeah.
March, April.
Yeah, March.
And then we just started building. We started building the website. We started building the art, trailers. We have a trailer pinned on our Twitter. That's again Luca made phenomenally. I repurposed one of my older songs that I wrote. It's like an EDM. So if you listen to the trailer, it's a song I wrote with a singer. It's like an EDM tropical beat, which fits the vibe of what we're trying to do. And yeah, we got that out April, And then May, we started a big marketing push, thousands of hours on Twitter Spaces, collabs, and all that stuff. And yeah, we're really happy with the growth that we've seen, to, you know, the few thousand people on Twitter and then a few hundred people on Discord that are active every single day. And we can go into, you know, how we think about community building and incentivization. But that's the timeline. That's sort of how it all came together and where we are now.
That's awesome. And I realize now, maybe I got a little ahead of myself. I would maybe, to give us a framework to discuss some of this stuff too. I should have asked, you know, if you could give the elevator pitch for Fit Friends. Like, what is Fit Friends? What is the ethos of Fit Friends? Like, if you had a mission statement, and maybe you do, what would that be? So we can have a context to discuss what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I can do that really quickly, because I've been practicing it on the Twitter Spaces. But
Nice.
essentially, you know, Fit Friends, we want to be the go-to mental and physical health education platform and company in the Web3 space. You know, we're using NFTs as a tradable membership that brings really, really awesome utility, focused around education, focused around helping people, getting people the tools they need to succeed and become #healthier selves. So we have a learn to earn model in our Discord where we have daily objectives that earn you points towards that mint list. We're still a few months away from mint, but you earn points. Daily objectives range from nutrition week to recovery week to, you know, mental health programs that Eli and Nick have come up with. And people just have fallen in love with it. And so you earn points and you can be part of a community where you have direct access to professionals that can give you those workout plans, as Eli mentioned, all the tools you need to succeed. And so we want to build sort of this community, this brand that also has this virtual aspect with the art, where we can have a collectability, you know, aspect with our multi poses, and as well as, you know, metaverse educational tools.
Yeah, that's a great description of it. And I've poked around the Discord a bit, and I saw the weekly objectives, the daily objectives, the point scheme. I was really impressed by a lot of that, especially what seemed to be the bot that enabled all of that and collected the information from Twitter, and it was very, very integrated, very cool. I had not seen really anything like that. I'd seen some stuff proposed like that, but never executed to that level. Now, with that kind of interaction between community members and the staff at Fit Friends and trainers and things like that, I saw on your website you mentioned a multi-directional approach. Is that what that is, that interaction? It's not just dissemination of information from on high from fitness professionals. There's a two-way interaction. Is that what you're trying to facilitate with that gamification, that learn to earn model?
Yeah, that is a really good point. Like one of the things we wanted to address was, like, if you want to work on your physical health or you want to learn about like how to deal with your mental health in the Web2 world, you go on YouTube and you find a bunch of videos and it's people talking at you, right? Like it's me trying to figure out, for my unique situation, with the things that I can do with my life, with my obstacles, how do I fit in their advice to what works for me? And we wanted to make it more accessible. We wanted to make it so that you can get like direct access to a professional without having to pay a bunch of money or wait for weeks to get a mental health appointment, and just be able to get the information like ready to go. Additionally, our community is great. We have so many different people from different parts of the world with different backgrounds who have really good advice that we want to share. Like I don't want the advice just to come from me. I want it to be like structured in a way where we have a subject that we can talk about, and we will give a starting point. We'll give like evidence-based good information, and then our community can run with it. They can bring their own tips and tricks. But yeah, so we, like, for example, meal prepping, we can show people like, here's how you could calculate how much you could be eating a day. Here's some tips and tricks for that. And then the community will come in and be like, this is my favorite meal. This is my current favorite snack. And we can collect all of that and format it in a way that's easy accessible, so people can come in and look back after a couple of weeks and be like, oh yeah, that was a cool recipe I wanted to try. And we just want to kind of crowdsource all this great information and bring all the different viewpoints in.
I think that's great, you know, because I've definitely seen that play out in the space. You know, people feel like they're not qualified enough to give, you know, advice to other members of the community or something like that. But I mean, 10, 15 years of lifting experience and diet and that self-experimentation. It's like that has value. And so I think it's cool that you guys are providing a platform where people can share that with each other. Now, when you mentioned kind of facilitated discussions, are you guys hosting like roundtables, or is this more like text-based, or these voice chats? Like, have you done this already, or is this something you're planning on doing in the future?
Yeah, I can talk about our events. I mean, we care a lot about events, partially because you get points for attending the events, and you talked about the
Nice.
bot. You get 100 points for attending a Discord or a Twitter space. And so we have weekly mental health spaces with another co-host that we host with, where people come in and share things they've struggled with. Eli helps facilitate those discussions, with his experience of, and we talk about, routines and sleep and, what went well, what didn't go well, tips and tricks, things you can do when you're, in those state of mind. And some people just want to, unload during those spaces. We've started up a physical health space with is like how to stay active in Web3, touching grass with a bunch of other folks,
Nice.
and tips and tricks again, across there, just sharing things that you've done or learned. We have AMAs. We're starting to do games. Like we did trivia this week, but we're also going to do more educational games as well as just fun games. Cause that's the whole point, is it's fun. And then, we've done like big spaces with other mentioned like other fitness and mental health projects. Like we've done spaces with them where it's sort of like quote unquote mega spaces where everyone comes together, shares their perspective, shares, what their project or their brand is trying to bring, what they focus on. And we've done those. We have a bunch lined up. We have some speakers coming in like that from Eli and Nick's network, as well as my network. And yeah, so I mean, we've already been executing, and the whole thing that we try to push is we're still many months away from mint. We're thinking October, but realistically, with the bear market and with the market, we don't want to rush this because we want this to be a long-term brand that we're building. But we were providing so much, utility and help, and the community is providing it with themselves, but we're just facilitating that months before mint. And that's sort of like, yeah, where else can you get that sort of content and daily activities and things related to health and wellness that that get you points. So it's been really awesome.
No, that's very cool. Oh, go ahead, Eli.
Oh, I was going to touch on like if you go on a place like a Reddit where you can talk to people about similar topics, one of the issues is it isn't really live chat, right? You post a message and then maybe someone will respond to you in a day or two.
Right.
Also, there's really no way to verify if this person has credentials or if the information they're giving me is solid. And what we're trying to do is we want to facilitate the discussion and make it appropriate and make sure that everything is like evidence-based. So we're bringing moderators on, we're bringing fitness ambassadors, we're individuals from our community who are showing that they're providing good information, like things with links, citing their sources. We can kind of promote them to have larger roles in our community because we want it to be a space where the person who you're talking to, you can trust them, you've interacted with them before, you can see what they're doing. And we want to kind of limit some of like the trollness and some of the like the misinformation that's out there, because it's really hard for like if someone's just starting off, like what is proper form for this exercise, or like is this something that's going to injure me? It's hard to kind of sift through that because there's just so much information out there. So we want to make sure people feel safe with the people that they're talking to.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful approach, and I think that's really needed just in fitness in general, because I think the inclination is I know I've had this inclination, is like, oh, maybe I can educate people how to evaluate evidence, but that's not their job. That's not their job. Their job is to find somebody who they can trust and to make a decision to trust them, and so we have to earn that trust, but also that we have to take that responsibility to heart to give evidence-based information, like you were saying, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. I know what you mean. I think that's very, very cool. Now, not to harshen the vibe, but as you were saying, you're months away from mint. You guys are providing a ton of utility, which I've seen in the Discord, I've seen on Twitter, I've seen looked at your calendar. It's always full. So it begs the question, are you funded yet? If not, is this pro bono, which much props if it is. And what's the monetization strategy to give you guys the runway to continue providing what you have? Because I think it is so cool.
Yeah, I can talk about our business strategy, and again, we're framing ourselves as a brand, as a company with a viable long-term business strategy. We're not just one mint and that'll last us forever. We
Right.
like that's not how life works. Sadly, that's not
No.
how the world works, how capitalism works. But so yes, we are bootstrapped right now. We did not go to venture capital, partially because we like the idea that with fitness and mental health specifically, having skin in the game is already that motivation. People need the motivation and support to keep going. And if it's top down, us just throwing information, you don't have an NFT, you don't have a membership that you want to do well. That's where the beneficial relationship becomes is if people have skin in the game with NFTs. They want, of course, the price to go up. We all want our prices to go to the moon. And so right now we're bootstrapped, and we have been doing this, for a few months full time. And, we're looking to, how to support ourselves through other means, but we're supporting this project. And up until mint, which, in October, we're thinking of this as an annual subscription. And so we're actually doing something really cool with how we think about Web3 art identity and a subscription. So it's like a subscription that's a piece of art that's alive. And so when you mint one of our NFTs, you will get one of the multi poses. We talked about bench press, reading, running, basketball, and stuff like that. And your character will also come with a PFP. And so you can imagine you have this identity that is also tied to this animated piece of art that is also an annual subscription. And so we raised the funds in October that will, last us through 2023. And then, we'll do another subscription, but the PFP does not change. It would be the pose that changes year after year. And so now you get this identity. It's always like you're identified by your subscription, which is like a weird way to think about it, but it's like a Web3 hybrid model of the PFP doesn't change. So you can identify with, your Doodlifts, character throughout years to come, but your subscription would change with this different pose or with this animation. And then that's one revenue stream that happens, year over year. You can think of it as like funding rounds, and you're betting on the fact that we'll provide significantly more utility through 2023. And so talking about the utility, depending on what pose you get a direct chat access to a professional. So it could be, we're still ironing out completely, but like a bench press could give you direct chat access to a personal trainer. A reader could give you direct access to a coach/counselor. We're not dealing with therapy because there's quite a lot of legal ramifications there. So coach/counselor, and then other poses. And then if you collect all the poses, you can get other perks. And so, you would collect multiple memberships for the things you want, or just to collect the pieces of art. And then you would bet that, we would be able to also continue to bring partnerships. So we already have I think we have 2 in real life gyms that are giving discounts to holders, people with memberships. And we haven't even pushed for partnerships yet, because we are still months away from mint. It doesn't make sense for us to go to partners, but they knew us from connections or they were, knew us through collabs and stuff. And they were like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, we want to give you brands. And so you're betting that we can expand that significantly in next year, pushing the price of the membership. We are thinking around, $100 to $200 price point for early supporters, which is way cheaper. One personal trainer appointment costs $200. Right. So you're betting that the price that we can, 1, scale with Web3, 2, that the price will go up because we provide additional extra utility. And yeah, then you'll have that reoccurring subscription. That's one revenue sort of stream and business monetization model, as well as, direct chat access. We're not going to be doing one-on-one personal training appointments. If you want that, you can pay, another fee. Sure. That's even better because you've already created this rapport with the professional. So now you can be like, I trust this person, as you talked about misinformation. I trust this person. So now I can do a one-on-one appointment, and I'll gladly pay, the price, because I know I'm getting a much higher quality, much more intimate directed treatment than what I would get elsewhere. And then we also think about, once we've grown the community much larger, brands and other partners who want to tap in and want to, give discounts to our community, they can, we can do some paid partnerships as well. So those are sort of our three revenue streams to, there's always the potential for Web 2 products, like outsourced diet books or workout plans that the team comes up with that we can sell ad hoc. There's just a lot of way more. When you have this big, large, outsourced community, ideas and knowledge, there's just so many opportunities for monetization.
No, that's very true. No, I think that's cool. The yearly model. I was recently listening to a podcast with, I think his name's Brendan Mulligan from Premint, and I don't know if he's actually with Proof Collective, but I know he founded Premint, and he was talking about that, because in the Web 2 business model, everyone's obsessed with recurring revenue, monthly subscriptions, and then NFTs for a long time were mint one and done. That's your runway, make it last or find a way to make you more money. So I think the yearly subscription model is really interesting. And I love the idea of each particular stance or version of your picture giving you access to maybe different things. I don't know if that's, set in stone yet, but let's say I minted a reader, but I actually wanted access to a coach that would give me maybe some incentive to purchase the bench press on secondary or something like that. Like, I think that's
exactly.
I think that's very cool. And I like the idea of the PFP. It reminded me of Invisible Friends, how you have your art, but then you can kind of generate your PFP to use on your socials. And I think that idea of diving deeper into the ecosystem, I know in my own personal experience, that's how I met my powerlifting coach in a Web 2 way. It was Instagram, right? I was engaging with their social media content, kind of became part of their social media community, if you will, that I wanted to, grow deeper in that relationship and get the one-on-one. And I hired them as a coach via social media. So that's kind of that Web 2 model. But what I see you guys producing is a much more accessible Web 3 model, which I think is very, very cool. I think that's great. I love what you're saying about the therapy thing. I was about to ask if you were going to build some kind of HIPAA compliant, portal or something like that, but that's a whole other bag of worms that you probably don't want to mess with. But I think that's very cool. Let's see.
Eli,
yeah.
Eli, did I miss anything about the sort of business model and how we think about things long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think you gave a great take on it. My thinking is, if we provide value for people pre-mint, they're going to want to support us and keep coming back for more. Our goal is to build the strongest community we can by giving good information and by essentially providing value for people, so that they're going to kind of like what your experience was. You were able to get value just from the person's social media account. You were able to interact with them, and then you decided, I like this person, I trust this person, I want to work with them more because I want to kind of invest in myself and reach my own goals. That's what we're going for. Additionally, I'm thinking of it in terms of, there are so many points of friction and so many obstacles for someone who has a busy life. Maybe they have kids, maybe they have a full-time career, and they want to reach fitness goals. They want to work on their mental health. We want to be able to provide all the different resources for them so that they can come to us and not have to go to all these different groups. Like, we want to be able to provide merchandise. We want to be able to provide discounts for gym memberships. We want to be able to provide discounts for things like protein powder, fitness equipment, so that they can come in, join our community, buy the pass, get the subscription, and then essentially get these things handled so that they don't have to spend more of their precious mental energy or their time, or even more of their money going to find all these different places and doing that.
No, I think that's very cool. And I definitely agree that you guys have provided a lot of utility pre-mint, but not in the sense of it's just a hype factory, that you're doing exactly what it seems like you're going to do after mint. already, which I think is a very cool demonstration of that execution. Because I think that so often gets missed, and that's why I honestly had to look through the Discord. I was like, wait, did they mint already or did they not? Because it seems like a well-polished machine. You have your daily objectives coming out, you're getting your pings, you have your bots, so kudos to you in that sense. And it does seem to me too, I would like to hear more about this as well, maybe for some people who aren't as familiar with this. But I was looking at the team roster, and it seems like you guys have a pretty stacked team with experience in the field. I noticed some Stanford graduates and then in addition to that, your fitness staff has more letters than I think most people understand. And so I think maybe just for some people who aren't familiar with that, would you guys want to go over a little bit of your certifications, your chops? I know we did a little bit of intros, but I think it's cool for those who might not know what the Spartan GX certification or things like that. Like, what does that mean? And what is your team who, was impressed by me, but, for the lay listener who may not know, what do you guys bring into the table so that you can execute post-mint?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's really important for us as a fitness and wellness project and brand to have that background and have that experience, because prior to this, I was looking in all the different NFTs that were available, and there were some projects that were fitness inspired, but the individuals just didn't have a lot of that experience. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I felt for myself, when I was just starting as a personal trainer, I really didn't know a lot, and I didn't know a lot, and it took years for me doing research, going to these different certifications to build up my own knowledge pool so that I would be comfortable talking to more people about these things. So my background in the fitness industry, Nesta, ISSA, and ANCSF certified. So those are just different trainer certifications. Honestly, I've kind of gotten away from thinking about certifications as important for someone's credentials, but I think it's important just from a legal standpoint to be certified and to show that this is a basics, or fundamentals of being able to show that they've accomplished something relevant. However, individual research is kind of so much more important for me. So I, as a trainer and a fitness professional, I wanted to get into corrective exercise and help people with injuries. So I got certified in the integrative corrective exercise approach through Dr. Evan Osar in Chicago. I took some more of his certifications, his integrated movement systems approach, which is kind of like a way to look at the whole body and be able to help someone figure out why they might feel pain in one area, but it could be because of a limitation in another area. Following down that train, I went into some of the bodywork stuff. I got Swedish massage certified. I learned rolfing and kinesis, myofascial integration, which is kind of the anatomy trained style of looking at the different muscular chains and seeing how they interact and why someone might, for example, if your hamstrings are tight, why you might get headaches because of that fascial chain up your back. I got a Spartan Race Group exercise certified at one point, a whole bunch of other things. But I think that the biggest thing is being passionate about these things enough to do your own research and spend time, buying books, buying textbooks, attending classes, attending webinars, and just talking to different people, because you're going to learn so much more once you get your fundamentals down. You're going to be able to know okay, this makes sense. I'm willing to look into and invest in this course and learn more about it.
I couldn't agree more. As someone who's in school myself, I've certainly learned a lot, and there is value in that. But I recently, this past November, went to a seminar of my own volition, and I probably gained more from that weekend seminar than I had in quite a few semesters of schooling, because I care about it. I want to be a lifelong learner, and I'm invested in growing my own knowledge base. So I couldn't agree more with that. So thank you for sharing that. And James, what about you? I saw your roster went pretty deep yourself.
Yeah. So, UC Berkeley grad, also instructor, only a portion of those, people in the computer science department get to teach the course, and worked at Wish, which is an e-commerce website, built out their chatbot and their website. They've IPO'd, this is a multi multi-billion dollar, company that I've been able to build tools for and scale their website and their chatbot. I worked at Carta, which is a cap table management company. Again, rocket ship company. They've grown so large to cover so many bases, and worked on their payment rails. So I have a lot of industry experience. Have about 10 years of Python experience. About 8 years of JavaScript, React, full stack web development, and then moved into Solidity. Have about 6 months of Solidity experience. And yeah, I mean, I've built pretty much all the tech that we run on. That Discord bot, custom made in Python. The website created using Vercel, React, and Python. The animated art engine, open source, Python, JavaScript. Already finished a contract. It's a multi-tiered custom Ethereum Solidity smart contract. And yeah, I mean, now focusing on how to think about marketing, how to think about things that I'm not as experienced with, but that I love, to learn more about, community management, stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my experience. And then Eli already listed all those things. And then we have Nick, who has a very similar experience as Eli. And then our artist, Luca, who graduated from Berkeley, and then is working as a designer at Stanford, and then has worked, tons of different freelance positions and designs, and 5 years of Blender experience. Does behind the scenes, which you don't see too much, behind the scenes of how the art's made on their Twitter, on the Discord. Very experienced. And then we just hired a community manager who we'll announce next week, who has worked at a bunch of different NFT projects, very well vetted in the Web3 space, has grown, projects from, 0 to 10,000 through their marketing ideas, their community management ideas. And we're bringing on mods, as Eli said, we're expanding. So that's our team.
That's very cool. And I don't say that, to make you brag on yourselves, because I know that could be uncomfortable sometimes, but I think that it is important. I remember when I first got into the Web3 space, the kind of level of credentials is the team doxed, in that there's literally a picture of them on their website. And if they had a LinkedIn, that was like, wow, these guys are like, they are legit. But I think as deeper we get into the space, I think it's important to know, who are the teams behind it? Why are they capable of executing? And so I thank you for sharing that. And the other thing that I was thinking about with that, oh man, it's about to slip my mind, but I just think it's so cool what you all. Oh, I remember now. One of the things that's kind of been bouncing around in my head, and I think we touched on this earlier, we were talking about the different, communities that are emerging and how you can kind of express your different interests and get involved. Is I think Web3 in this kind of emerging market has really, the term that I heard, I was finishing my internship, and Eli, you may be familiar with Exos. Have you heard of them before?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, just wrapped up my. Oh, go ahead.
For Mark, I'm gonna not
Mark
be able to pronounce his
Verstegen.
last name. Yeah, Mark Verstegen. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Just finished up my internship with them. It was a great experience. And at the Phoenix location, which is their kind of their legacy headquarters, and we had a bunch of staff come in from their Google branch, if you will, because they do a bunch of kind of white label for different companies. And the Google guys, they were very Google guys. They were like, we just really want to enable people's superpowers. And I was like, what are they saying? Superpowers. But it stuck with me. And I keep on thinking about it with the Web3 space, is that initiatives like this, like Fit Friends, your company, and many, many, many others, I mean, so many others, is enabling people to kind of leverage their superpowers, and really express what they're great at and what they're passionate about. And I think it's just very cool to see, because everyone who you see, it's like this is a total butchering of this, but there's I think the Hindu principle of Dharma is, once you find your passion, your purpose, and you align with that, you kind of experience joy and fulfillment. And you see that in some level with this Web3 space, people finding their passion, their purpose, and getting to kind of unleash their superpower. And I think it's just doing a lot of really good, it's having a positive effect on the world, if you will. Sorry to get too philosophical there, but I just thought that was worth sharing.
I totally agree. Yeah, I feel so lucky that, because like my passion is doing the research and finding all these new cool tips and tricks, and like even today's daily objective is talking about different modes of recovery, and I'm like, oh yeah, like Normatec boots, graded compression, float tanks. Here are all the things that worked for me, that have worked for my clients. Like, here, take it, show me what you're doing, show me all the cool things. So I'm learning too. I'm definitely benefiting from this also. Yeah, it's just an awesome experience to be able to do that. And in my previous positions, like I used to work at Equinox as a trainer. They were using the FMS screening tool as kind of a selling point. And for those who don't know, it's a movement assessment where you take someone through it and you can say like, oh, okay, you have a functional limitation here and here. And it was my experience with it was probably not as effective as it could have been. I was like, well, I want to use this different screening tool. I got this certification. I want to do this kind of thing. And they're like, well, you kind of have to stick with our way of selling things. I was like, I'd rather do the thing that I feel is the most effective. And so that's what we're able to do. That's kind of our goal.
I'm with you. I remember that was my experience at Exos, and Exos is a fantastic company. So don't get it wrong, but there is a reality to being in a corporate setting. I remember I was working with their head sports scientist. Me and him were kind of road dogs, and we were using the Vols force plates to test athletes, and it was really, really fun. And I wanted to roll out all this, and I'm an intern, but I was a little overzealous, and I wanted to roll out all this integration of this new software we were using. And I was like, man, this could really, change the game. And I was, weirdly enough, scrubbing floors with someone who was a bigwig. And we were sitting there, and he was like, things move slow. And I was like, okay. So nothing happened with that the entire time I was there. And it was so frustrating. I was like, we have this tech, we have this stuff that we could use, but things move slow. In the corporate world, there's these big wheels that take a long time to move. We use the FMS screening as well. And it was funny because I'm in lecture in the morning talking about the FMS screening is kind of outdated. And in the afternoon, I'm using the FMS screening with all these pro athletes. And I'm like, oh man, this is rough.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Lots of freedom in this space, which is nice. James, were you going to add something?
Well, yeah, super fortunate and lucky. Like, I am someone who likes to do a lot of things at a lot of different parts. I don't like to be working on the same thing, from the tech side or from the non-tech side. Like, I like talking to people and connecting to people and, talking about stuff that relates directly to the project and the vision. It's, not something that's tangential, which is a lot of time in sort of the corporate world, and you're working on sort of the same field. You don't get to one day do art stuff, and then one day throw in some music stuff, and then one day Solidity, and now I'm web developer now. Someone wants this thing on this Discord bot, fixing that and patching that up, and yeah, you can move a lot faster. I'm the only dev on the team. I can do whatever I want whenever I want.
No red tape here.
No red tape. No, not at all. Which is, it can be scary. It's going to be very scary when it comes to the mint, when people's money is involved, smart contract, all that stuff. Right now, the point system, those points are not worth money. They're worth pre-mint to our mint list, and then post-mint, we're going to have different use cases for those points. But again, not directly correlated to money. So we can give points. We can tweak how much points people get. Like, there's flexibility. But right now, I'm just enjoying it. It's about sometimes you got to appreciate the journey and the flexibility you get now, because once we've grown a lot bigger, there comes the red tape, and there comes things that we have to figure out and do that we couldn't do, and you have to scale in different ways. So super happy about that.
Well, and props to you. I noticed you mentioned that you're done with the smart contract already, months out from mint, and so you get to focus on some other stuff, which I think that just it speaks to. It seems like that you guys have your house in order, if you will. This wouldn't be a Doodlifts podcast. Shifting gears a little bit with a couple rapid fire questions at the end, because I know we're reaching time. So I want to hear from both of you. I have a couple questions. One, I know. Brian, you said that you weren't, or James, sorry, you said that you're not totally into the lifting thing yet, but you're getting into it. But I want to hear if you have a favorite exercise or physical activity that you engage in.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely have been lifting for a while, you know, not at the level of Eli, but I've been lifting for a while, and I did tennis before, and I played, you know, I was on like the ping pong team and stuff. So I've been into sports, and then now I've been
Oh,
lifting, you know,
nice.
5 to 6 times a week, and logging everything, and yeah, I mean, I think I've been getting into basketball recently, and I'm like a tall guy. I'm like 6'1". I just never took advantage of that height, and I'm a bigger guy. Like I can, you know, push people around, and it's fun, you know, playing with people like that I know, pushing them around. It's like a and
Nice.
like, you know, getting to use my full body to its capacity has been really rewarding. It's also been frustrating because like my body, you know, I'm not used to all those movements. But basketball's been really fun, and then I think bench press, it's a standard, but it doesn't feel like my whole body's getting crushed like compared to deadlift or squat. So like bench press feels like really good because I can push to my limits without feeling like I'm gonna die. So
Nice.
bench press has been my favorite,
As long as the
which
safeties are up, you know.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always do safeties, and then when I push for, you know, PRs, I have a friend, you know, spot and stuff. But that's probably been my favorite. I do need to do more, and Eli has and Nick have been helping me on sort of the other full body movement, you know, squat, deadlift, how to do it correctly, how to not get injured. Again, taller guy, so things are look a little different, in those lifts, and how to do it safely. So that's been my experience. It's been great.
That's awesome. I love to hear it. That's so cool. Awesome. Eli, what about you? Favorite exercise, favorite movement?
Oh, yeah, that's tough. I want to be good at everything, and so what that means is I'm getting to be very mediocre at a bunch of different things. So like I'm running 30 miles a week and also doing speed work and also trying to squat. So it's like one day we'll all squat, the next day I'll be a 12-mile run, next day I'll be squat, next day I'll be a 12-mile run or some sprints. And I'm like, I want to hang on to my 315 squat and not, you know, not have that drop down too much while still pushing. I want to get, I've just got to a comfortable 6 minute mile, not like a PR. Like I could run and do a 6 minute mile, and I want to be able to drop that down and maintain the 315 squat. And it's like my body's like, come on, man, pick something. You can't do everything.
The amount of volume you need to maintain a 1 rep max is so low. Like I think
Yeah.
I was
That's
reading some of
true.
the literature, and it's like kind of insanely low. So I wish you the best
Yeah,
of luck.
yeah. Thank you.
That's
That's
awesome.
mind
That's
blowing.
awesome.
I don't know. Eli is very humble. He does not talk about his lifts or his numbers or how much he run. A 6 minute mile, like I can barely. I don't even want it to. I don't even want to say it.
So it's funny though, because like to people who run, they're like, that's kind of the minimum. You know what I mean? They're like, if you're not
Yeah,
running a
yeah.
416, like you're not even really running. That's just jogging. And then to other people, like, oh yeah, that's impressive. But the cool thing about being in the industry is you just get to talk to so many people who are just so skilled in everything that
Mhm.
I never feel like the stuff I'm doing is impressive. I'm always like, oh, I'm just trying to hang on to the back of the pack, you know, because you're talking to different people who are like we were just recently talking to somebody who's like, you know, benching 450. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So just like, maybe I'll just give up on everything. But no. It's great because you get to just pick from and steal all these different secrets from everybody, which is really fun.
Oh yeah. No, I think getting a broad base is so cool. I remember when I first walked into my internship, I was they told me not to show up a fat power lifter, which is like as I told them I did powerlifting, and they were kind of like, well, you know, we do some other stuff here. You might want to, you know, tune up your cardio. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I walk in, we did a warm up for our first day to kind of do some demos, and I was like huffing and puffing. I was like, oh, this is the warm up. Okay, like okay,
Yeah,
I'm in for
yeah.
something. Oh man. All right. The second question, it wouldn't be a Doodlifts podcast without it. Do we have a favorite supplement? Protein, creatine, anything else?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I've never done pre-workout. Like I don't do caffeine. I've never just been into that kind of thing. However, I did recently start using Legion's non-stim pre-workout, and that is amazing. That stuff is great.
Okay.
No caffeine.
Is it like a
It tastes absolutely.
nootropic or something like that? Or
No. It's just it's a regular pre-workout, but it just doesn't have any caffeine in it. It's got a couple other things, and it tastes absolutely terrible, but it works. It works really really great. I'm really liking it. Like if I'm tired, I'll take it, and I'll feel like my 12-mile runs are very, very easy. I feel like I could just keep going. Another one off the top of my head is, I would say, Frog Fuel. I just started using some of these. It's 15 grams of protein in a small little liquid pouch, and I can stick one of those in my Camelback because I am fortunate enough. I live right next to one of the bridges going around San Francisco. I can hop on a bike, take one of those, and go for an hour, 2 hour bike ride, and not feel like I'm catabolic, and not worry about like losing any muscle, because I've got just that.
Don't lose your
I don't want to
gains.
have to stop. Exactly. I don't want to have to stop and drink a whole protein shake, or just eat like, I don't know, a pound of chicken on the side of the bridge, so I can just like down that and go for it.
That's cool. I mean, it looks like a goo pack like runners would traditionally use, but
yeah,
it has
is
protein.
Exactly,
which
it's protein instead of carbs.
The missed component of the endurance athlete. So I think that's very cool that exists. I'm gonna have to look into that.
We'll have to get sponsored by Frog Fuel.
Hashtag,
Yeah,
hashtag not an ad.
Yeah.
Hashtag not an ad yet. James, what about you? Any whey protein, any supplements you like?
Yeah, I mean, I tried. So this is the whole point of Fit Friends, is learning from other people. I actually ordered Legion supplement, non-caffeine, because caffeine gets me. I have a very low caffeine, 50 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm just like anxious. So that's been really good, actually. It doesn't taste that bad, honestly, but I'm used to like Chinese herbal medicine that tastes really bad. So it's not too bad.
Nice.
But that's been really good, and yeah, I'll take whatever whey protein. See, I'm not the expert here. I just whatever the Amazon gold standard or whatever.
Oh, the Optimum Gold.
Standard,
actually.
yeah.
I don't even know if that's the one I still use. Yeah, I don't even pay attention to it.
Such an underrated protein, though, and so solid. Been around for like
that's
15
my top
years.
Record. If someone's down for whey, that's my top rec. Otherwise, I like Ghost. It just tastes good. It's like chocolate cereal milk.
You should see my pantry. It is ghosted out the wazoo. I got pre-workout whey protein. I got at least 20 Ghost blender bottles. I'm like, hashtag not an ad. But
they're nice. They're fun. I wanted to get their Space Jam one. I think I missed that though.
I missed that one too. I actually do. So I do Ghost cereal milk protein inside a bowl of cereal. So I think they call it a Legend Bowl, and it's delicious.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. I like Oatly and their chocolate cereal milk. That's my favorite go-to.
Cool. And let me put this on your radar, because it's something that I've been kind of trying to push out there. I think it's super interesting, and especially if you're into the science. One, because vegan protein, the consistency is usually pretty hit or miss, and more often than not miss. There is a new company called Perfect Day, and they have their own product that you can sell, but they also have a collaboration with MyProtein. They have a new product. It is a dairy-free whey protein, no animal product at all. Yes, I know it's kind of an oxymoron, but they somehow have fermented plant products into creating whey protein. Very interesting. So
this is perfect timing for me, because I am almost out of my Ghost, and I was like, do I just want to get a new one? Do I want to branch out? I will check this out. I will probably end up ordering that to see if it works for me.
And another thing that I'll shill that is a good one that I like is MyProtein Clear Whey. It basically, so it comes in like fruit flavor, so you can drink it. Sometimes I would drink it with meals. It's like lemonade flavor, things like that, and it mixes to be the consistency of a lemonade. Very cool. It's very cool.
That's great. The only competitor I could think of would be like Isopure, but even Isopure has kind of that chalky taste.
It's a little, it mixes a little bit better and tastes a little bit better than Isopure. You get the Isopure in the bottle at the gas station. That stuff is really nice. That RTD is like on point, but their Infusions home product is kind of like, So
that's great. I'm gonna steal this and recommend this to our people. I'll cite you as the initiator. That's awesome.
I'm the biggest supplement shill. I know way too much. But last question. So this one, a little spicy. Favorite NFT project besides your own?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. There's so many good ones. Honestly, I would just still say my Pet Hooligan. I really like what the team's doing. I like how they're innovating. I like how they show behind the scenes stuff. And probably just biased because I found them really early on, and I was like, these guys are going to be huge, and they ended up doing really well. So I'm always super bullish on them.
You know what's hilarious is, I will out myself. I've maybe heard that name in passing. I know nothing about it, which is the hilarious part about the NFT space. You're like super bullish on this project. I'm like, and what is that again? Like, So
Yeah.
now I'm gonna look into it. That's awesome.
It's
There's
like
a
a
lot.
it's a GTA game, but you're a bunch of different rabbits. And I don't that's probably the worst explanation, but they're really cool.
That's awesome. I'm totally gonna look into it. James, what about you?
Yeah, I would say NFT Academy. So we bought a pass early on, and they've helped push us, give us advice on how to start. That's with Brett Malinowski. I don't know if it's pronounced his name right.
Yeah, that's him.
Crypto Brando and stuff, and a bunch of people that help out there. And the reason why I love them so much is because we've partnered a bunch with them on hosting spaces. So it was like they started, NFT Pass, we bought the pass, they helped us. And then I actually presented my animated art engine in their Discord, got, like 50 people to come, met their, community manager and their mods. And then, they really liked it. And so then we actually started doing weekly practice your pitch Twitter spaces to help people practice their marketing pitch, because Elisa, their community manager, or I don't know, I forgot her official role, but she has a ton of public speaking experience with Toastmasters. And so she helped me with those spaces. And then I'll attend their weekly spaces on, like, they have a chill and grill space where they will grill your project and help you,
Nice.
I want to make sure I said it right. Yeah, absolutely. And so they're super helpful. And then they had a marketing 101 one. It's just, they honestly didn't know I had the pass. Like, that's all available for anyone in their community. And then the pass gives you like special access. So like, I was just participating as a regular person, with, you don't have to have a pass to participate in these chill and grill and marketing 101s. And they did one with how to do collabs, and like collab text templates and stuff. Like that's priceless. So that's a pitch about them.
Nice, very cool. You heard it here first. My Pet Hooligans and NFT Academy. Awesome. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on today. James, Eli from Fit Friends. Heard a lot about your project today. I think you guys are doing really, really cool work. It's so cool because the underpinnings of the project are equally as impressive as the mission ethos you're trying to carry kind of on the front end. You guys have a really solid project, it seems like, from front to back. So I think you'll definitely see me in the Discord. And I'll put links to your Discord, your website, as much as I can in the description. So once again, thank you both for coming on. It's been a real pleasure having this conversation today.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate your time. This is a great conversation, and great to know someone who is also in doing the same kind of stuff, trying to promote physical activity, trying to get people into that, and also working on the mental health. Definitely down to do like an AMA in the future, just talking more about supplements, because I want more of your secrets.
Dude, I would love that. I would love to do an AMA. I mean, you'll probably have to shut me up at some point, honestly. You should hear.
I like taking notes.
I'll do a space every once in a while for another NFT project. And yeah, I mean, someone will ask me one question. They're like, what kind of creatine should I take? 30 minutes later, they're like, dude, please just stop talking about the creatine. So that's great.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, thank you so much. And I really like these discussions, especially when it talks about fitness and mental health, because inevitably you learn something out of the talking about it and out of the podcast. And I have notes about supplements and notes about things I want to try. And yeah, I mean, it's just awesome. So thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, man. Behavior change is one of the most difficult endeavors that any human can embark upon. So any way that we can help make that easier and better for them is a win. So rising
100%.
tides raise all ships. So Fit Friends, Eli, James, thank you again. And this is Doodlifts signing off.